Okay, what a weekend this has been. Trials of Osiris. I didn't manage to go flawless. I weren't too fussed about going flawless this weekend, in all honesty, anyway, because I've already got everything tier 5. Um, multiple of everything, to be honest. But I am going to say that did feel like someone didn't want me going flawless this weekend. Let me tell you, fucking hell, man. The matchmaking. After that guy wrote that salty little comment, and I say salty because the reason he gave for writing it was um, that was just pure salt. The reason why he was on my page typing that. It's the same as in game. All the shitty comments people made in game, I'll put some on the screen so you can see it. Just salty little guys. I really don't like it when you come on these games and talk about um, these devices and things, these devices people use because they're dog shit at games. I'm happy to say it. You can make fun of my KD if you like, but when I aim my gun, that's me doing it. That's not a device. Um, that got me looking at the stat tracker because he wrote that shitty comment. None of that existed to me. I was just playing the game, right? Looking at people's stats and stuff. I see that as like, what little kids do. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not worried about my KD, man. I just come back to the game. Of course, I'm getting slapped from every direction. People are using things that um, I'm not used to, I'm not aware enough for, or whatever, prepared for, whatever the word you want to say. And of course, they're using them twice as much because they can just stack 200 into one stat. Like, do you know what I mean? And just spam it. So, yeah, of course, I'm getting dicked. That's without this shoddy matchmaking. That's the only word for it. Laughable matchmaking. Um, I'll put some stuff on the screen now and you can see it for yourself, right? I'm not going to put every single one on there because I'll be there all day, but I'm going to put the most obvious, completely pointless time waste 5-0 stomps, just boring matches on the screen for you. Matches where the players should never ever be in the same lobby. I want to highlight this one. A player with 3,000. Let me get it up on my phone actually, so I don't say the wrong thing. So I know people will be picking away at that. Where is it? It is here. Okay, a 2,348 ELO player, a 3,020 player, a 2,550 player, right? These players were against a lobby of 1,000 odd ELO players, right? And these players, I checked their history, they were on a 36 win streak, right? 36 win streak, right? 4.46 KD, 2.25 KD, 4.32 KD on a 36 win streak against three 1,000, 1,100 or 1,200 ELO players with 0.62 KD that could barely get a win that day. Why on earth were those players put in a lobby with the team like that I was on? What in the fuck? Did they need another feel good match? Like, is that what that was? They didn't have the 35 win streak weren't enough. They needed one more feel good match. Like, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what in the fuck? Like, that is just to me, that is what is the system we have here for trials? I understand trials is meant to be like the end game, but that is ridiculous. And that's not just me. Multiple people were commenting in the matches over the whole weekend saying, "What is this?" Like, do you know what I mean? You couldn't even get a kill, just 5-0 stomped on. Like I said, someone was making sure, that's what it felt like. Someone was making sure this weekend that I did not go flawless. Honestly, match after match. Go look yourself. Go look at the stat tracker. Go look at the players that I was matched against, and just look at the state of it. Like, do you know what I mean? I managed 2 win streaks of 6, and I think I had one or two of 4, and for the whole week. And I played hard this week. And I played like a lot because I wanted to get the gear. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to get the good sets of gear. Um, so yeah, maybe them guys didn't have enough feel good matches. And of course, this is without the little salties. I don't like you talking about devices and things. The match starts and they just go jump off the map, your two teammates, to force you to lose, right? And this is also without the hacker guy. I put that video. That same hacker guy was back the entire weekend. Um, I got paired against him a couple of times. That's an instant loss. He just teleports to the other side of the map, headshots your whole team with a cloud strike, and then stands there teabag and shooting the floor like like an LMG, which obviously is impossible. Obviously, legit players ain't going to be teleporting, and they're not going to be firing off ammo like that from a gun that takes special ammo because you only get one bullet per match. Um, and that what I'm talking about there, that hacking situation, I've only seen that one player do that, right? So that is the minority, regardless, like whether someone's cheating like that or not. That's the minority. The cheating that I have seen this weekend is on a scale that I have never ever seen on any game. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm talking about the devices, the Zim, the strike pack shit, absolutely out of control. And when I'm saying that, um, I know you get these people like no one's cheating, you're just bad, and that usually is the people that use these devices that say these things. But believe me, I've dealt with them. Trust me. But I'm gonna say it to you like this, right? We'll use these boots here, these boots as an example, right? On every single game that you play, right, there is no game, I promise you, like there is no game where the entirety of the population are like shroud aim gods, human aimbots. That doesn't exist. No matter how long a game's out, that will never ever be the case, right, on any game. Trust me, right? Um, And on this game, say for example, say this here, right? This is the bottom row here. This is your 20% of God tier players, right? We're just going to generalize it. It's probably less than that. It's probably like 15 or 10. But we're going to generalize it and say this is your top 20% of Shroud Aim Gods, Movement Kings, whatever you want to say, the best builds, the exact perfect mods. Um, they know the map knowledge. They know every little nook and cranny they can shoot you from, every head glitch, right? Near perfection players, legitimate players. I'm not calling those players cheaters, right? But what I am saying is these players should never be put in a lobby with like returning players, people with minus KD, 0.6 KD, whatever, right? That should never happen, right? Uh, but then next to that, right? You've got your 30% of the player base that are just behind these, but they're not quite there. This row, right? This is your 30%. They're missing something with their builds. Maybe they're using the wrong guns for their play style. They're lacking a bit of map knowledge. Whatever be the reason, right? They're just behind this top 20%, right? This 30% here. Then you got your 50% of your casuals. People that don't really come into trials or PvP at all. Um, I fit into this category as well, return and player, trying to get to grips with the game again. I'm under no illusion, right? That's where I fit right now in this category here, right? That's your 50%, right? Your general player base. But in this day and age, that doesn't look like this. In this day and age, you've got your casual returning players like me, right? Casual gamers, as well, and then you've got your device users, right? And when you don't do anything about these device users, um, what happens is this, right? And then what happens is you get someone like me that's come back to this game, right? And I go into trials, and that feels like 80-90% of the player base are like ridiculously, never miss a shot. Every bullet is on your head. Bullshit, right? And that's not the case. That's not the case. The matchmaking is fucking you over, but you feel like you are fighting this top 20% all the time, and you're not. What you're doing is you're fighting device users. People that are too lazy to put the effort in to get to this stage. Um, they're genuinely just dog shit players that go and buy devices. They're not any good at games whatsoever. They just go and buy these devices because they want to look like these players. Or on this game, obviously, you had the popular people doing carries and stuff, and you can feel it when you're fighting these players. Let me tell you. Um, but when you're fighting the genuine, the top tier players, a lot of the time when you're fighting them, you can notice the difference between these players and these players because of the way that they play the game. Like, do you know what I mean? And when you're fighting these players, you're able to kill them still. Because there's a thing. I know a lot of people in this day and age struggle with words like this, but there's a thing called human error, right? People make it, right? I watch the best players on this game, even when I didn't play it. Right? I watch the people doing the carries, the better players doing the carries, and they miss shots. They miss snipe shots. They miss hand cannon shots. They lose shotgun battles. They make mistakes and get caught out in whatever you want to say, right? Human error. And then you come against people like this, just headshot, headshot, headshot. There was a guy, right? You see this build, what I'm using now. You see this build. I thought I would try out some different people's builds. I'm trying out this Frostbolt guy's build, but I swapped the healing grenade for the trip mine. And mate, there was a guy in the video, the guy that made the build in the video, he says that's not as easy as it looks. Like, and that isn't like that is that's not. I'm not saying that's ridiculously difficult, but as that is like there's a little bit. You don't always hit the knife. Sometimes you miss, whatever. But we had a match. We had a match. We were playing against these guys, and one of them, right? He got every kill in the game, right? And every single kill he got, any elevation, any distance, any angle, jumping in the air, sliding around blind corners, every single kill that guy got was a headshot throwing knife. Mate, the cheating is just like that's just sad, man. The amount of people doing it as well. Like, I know the way people like think and the way they like to act and what they're going to say. They're just going to say, well, you're just bad, and that's fine, you can say that, but I can show you clips. I can show you like full gameplay of me playing against genuine players, and not always of my skill level, and I'm still able to play the game. But when you come against these devices, man, you can't do anything about it. When you're fighting people on mouse and keyboard that have aim assist, you cannot play the game. Of course, sometimes you can play super slow and catch them out and things like that. But they just jump in the air and headshot you, like just effortlessly. All they have to do is learn the movement, because the second they push, what is it on mouse and keyboard? The second they push their right click, it's on your head. It's pretty much aimbot, and I'm confidently saying that. Like what I have seen this weekend, like I've been saying that every weekend, like to Pasty and that, like, what is this? This is ridiculous. This is cheating. That's what this is. This is not normal. Um, but yeah, man, this weekend I've never seen people cheat on a game like I have this weekend. That is absolutely out of control cheating. They need to do something about these devices. They have to. I'll put some stuff on the screen for people that make out that these things don't exist. Here's some things like these are the things I've found. Things from like 6 days ago, things from 2 weeks ago, things from a month ago, showing you how to set these up. Saying it's pretty much aimbot. Videos showing you, us taking recoil off guns, locking to people's heads. And that's for both of these devices. It's just sad, man. What has happened to gaming? How are these? How are these? Like, look at this as well, right? Look at this sponsored ad that I saw on YouTube for this device. So look what it says on the ad, mate. When I saw that, mate, that just made me laugh. See, things like this just make me laugh, and the reason why it makes me laugh is because these were something that well, that was something that they were saying was for people with disabilities, to help them with accessibility to games. So someone might have like one arm or like a leg miss or whatever, or they I don't know a nice way to say it, like mentally challenged, whatever you want, so yes, they would need these, but then you get these people that are just fucking losers, that abuse that, and now look, now that's not for people um with disabilities. Now it's scripted to dominate, right? And when you click on the actual official site, well, and they're still sold out, by the way, to date, right? Years and years later, still sold out. Um, when you click on the website, it says a must-have for any serious gamer. What? How are these companies not being dismantled by the gaming companies? Because I'm telling you, man, that's where your player base go. I watched some interesting videos from people, and they were talking about players that are existing, consistent Destiny players, whatever you want to say, good players. They were having like a little debate on this guy's video, and they were like talking about stuff and that, and they were saying like possibly changing the format of trials to hardware mode, which I thought that was a good idea. They were talking about doing another card, so people could choose if they wanted to play the normal mode or the hardware mode, where it's just guns only. Because they were saying since Edge of Fate has come and you can do this with your stats, like stack loads into one stat. Um, they were like the ability spam is too much, and that gets annoying, man. Like there was one guy on the enemy team. No, there was one guy on my team. In fact, I died, my teammate died, and this guy he didn't run round different corners, and make plays and kill this other team, right? What he did was he Titan punched one player, immediately Titan punched the next player, and immediately Titan punched the next player and won the match. Three full health players died in one hit, one after the other, to someone just spamming the arc Titan punch. That's hilarious, isn't it? Mate, honestly, if that happened to me, I would have went fucking mad. Honestly, mate, I hate that. I don't think removing all the skills and everything is the answer to the issue. And because this throwing knife thing I'm using is a bit broken, but I'm using it in a way where I shot people once and then chucked a knife. Um, but I've seen people. I don't know how these people do it. They must be using a different version of the knife or something. But I've seen people. Was it last weekend? No, that was when it was javelin. Whatever weekend that was javelin. This guy chucked a knife. Right, I watched the gameplay back. This guy chucked a knife, ricocheted off four walls, hit me in the pinky toe, right, and then I it died, exploded, ignited, or whatever you want to say, and blew up my teammate next to me because a guy chucked a knife at a wall. That's ridiculous. That is. And then what was it? The same with the solar warlock. A guy on a solar warlock ran forward, took like 6 paces forward, chucked a nade. Right, we were on that javelin map. Right, we came out of the spawn, the big spawn door. Right, turned left, and then you got that little doorway there. Right, my teammate was on the corner of that doorway, looking towards the middle. Right. I was across the other side, looking towards the middle where where people jump up and shoot from the middle across. I was looking towards that, and our teammate was back at the spawn door, watching the back. Right, now this guy spawned on the other team, chucked a nade, stuck my teammate, right? He exploded immediately, ignited, killed me, I ignited, and then killed my teammate, right? And the whole round was over in like 2 seconds. A competitive 3v3. For ESO players, that's like having vicious death in a 3v3 competitive game mode. Like some of the things are a bit like some things are definitely questionable, um, but I also I think the Titan punch is too broken as well. I think that's way too broken. That involves like the little to no skill. Like, do you know what I mean? You like, yeah, like what is it? You just sort of, what is it? Is it sprint melee or slide melee? I'm not playing Titan, so I don't know. I will give Titan a go, but I'm just saying I think that is absolutely broken, completely broken. So is the Strand version, because that is pretty much a free ult. And the shields as well. They made the over shields. Oh my god, mate! The over shields in this game are out of control, man. Like, for a 3v3 setting, you do not need that at all. Not in a 3v3. I think a lot of the shit is broken, man. Um, but the over shields, mate. That whatever is it the crest of that Alpha Loopy or something like that it's called in it on the Titan, mate. You get an overshield for putting down your shield, right? And people put them shields inside walls and stuff. They don't even want them. They just want the overshield to rush out and fight you with an overshield. I think that is stupid. And of course, if they stack 200, is it on class the shield? If they stack 200 into that, they can use that 2 or 3 times in a match. That is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. I think that's stupid. Um, and it gets abused like I said, and you can give that to your whole team. I think that exotic should be deactivated in trials, and I think a lot of the sources of overshields should be removed. Some are acceptable, getting one for killing someone maybe, and reviving someone, but even that, I know myself that I have abused that. In a fight where I've got someone to 1 HP, but I don't want to push the corner in case I die. And I know that they're sort of staying in cover for a minute, so I'll revive my teammates so I get an overshield. Obviously you should want to revive your teammates anyway, but in certain circumstances you're better off just taking the fight. But I revived that guy because I knew that I would get a free advantage for doing it. Like, do you see what I mean? I think some of the things in this game are definitely a bit broken. I'm not screaming nerfs. I'm only really talking about this because when I watched that video of the people that are existing, consistent players, really good players talking about it. I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to give my opinion. Um, the other thing is the Titan shield. I always hated the Titan. The Titan character as a whole. I always just hated it. Not in PVE, but in PvP. I think that's so broken, man. Like, just take the normal Titan shield. Right, just a normal Titan shield, right? Not nothing buffing it, no exotic. Right, when you put that down, right? When an enemy puts that down, right? If you go to push them, say you try jump over the top, right? If your no, if your big toe happens to hit that shield on the way over, that the shield, not the player, takes 3/4 of your health. The shield, not the player. Is that an offensive ability or a defensive ability? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what I always hated that. I think that's stupid, man. I think if it's that way, they shouldn't be able to walk through it. Like, do you know what I mean? There's got to be something there. Like, do you know what I mean? They can walk in and out of it. They've got a one-shot melee, and if you push them and accidentally hit the shield, that takes 3/4 of your health. Honestly, I always hated that about this game. That one thing. I think that's so broken, man. Um, but yeah, I don't think my take on the whole no abilities and trials. I don't think that's the answer, and I think that would just breed the cheating more. Because the people with the devices won't have to worry about abilities. Then, that's sort of your way having a chance of killing them in it. Really, I suppose. Um, but that would definitely entice that more. When I was talking to Pasty about it, he said that exact same thing as well. That would make the cheating worse. Um, but I don't think the answer is completely removing the abilities from trials. Um, anyway, in general, I think some things are just doing too much damage. I don't think you should have ignitions or whatever, whatever makes other people explode. I don't think you need that in trials. And no, I don't think anything should one shot. You should have to, if you want to Titan punch someone, you should have to shoot their shield off or something first. At least fire your gun once. Unless say certain exceptions, like things like throw a knife and someone in the head, that should obviously be a one-shot kill. But ricocheting a knife off 4 walls and hitting someone in the toe, no, that shouldn't be a kill. That should take half their shield off. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, something, and don't panic. I know we're going to get some guy that's 1.22 KD. Is that what he said he was? 1.22 KD guy that thinks my opinion is invalid. because he's got a high KD to me. I'll just say like if I invest my time into a game, I will have an opinion. It doesn't matter what my KD is, and you can't stop me. That's the So enjoy making accounts and typing shitty comments because I don't care, mate. I'll just literally remove you from the channel completely, and you'll never type here again. Um, I don't mind a little debate. Don't get me wrong. I'm always up for debating with people, but if you're just going to chat pure shit, you're just going to get removed. Like, do you know what I mean? And, if anyone wants to play as well, I don't mind playing with people either. Feel free to add me, and I'll play with you. You know what I mean. But that's my take on that anyway. Um, and like I say, and as for the cheating, truly, I have never seen cheating like this on any game ever. Um, and the crafted weapons, 100% should be either removed from this game. The ones that you can't get anymore, they should either be removed completely from people's inventories, so there are no advantages, or they should put them back in so people can get them. I don't know. I don't know why they keep taking things out of this game. They've always done that, and they sort of took things out, but then left people, with things that other people can't get, and then that's a free advantage. This gun alone is your perfect example. The crafted version of this gun, like one of the most used weapons on this game at the moment, because solar is really popular, and going against that is just ridiculous, man. That is truly ridiculous. Now, I've got these two, but they kick like a mule. I can barely even hold them straight. I'd like to use one of these crafted god roll guns that people are using, because I don't know how they can control the recoil to like headshot you, your teammate, and your next teammate one after the other when the one I've got kicks like a mule. That must be a huge difference on that crafted version. Do you know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I'm still having fun with this game, even though all that what I just said. I'm still having fun. If I weren't, I'd just uninstall it. And there's nothing that you'll say, you little upset people that don't like me talking about the devices. There's nothing that you'll say to stop me playing this game. So enjoy that. Um, exactly the same situation as when I played Marvel Rivals. The same, you get them little groups of people, not the whole Destiny community. I'm talking about the little cringies, that use the devices and what was that on that game, the Smurf, and they didn't like me talking about that. People trying to make money from the game. Weird things start happening to your computer. Exactly the same like it did on Marvel Rivals happened on this game. Well, started to and then stopped. Um, my screen go no, what was that? My game would go weird and framey, exactly like it did on Marvel Rivals, and then it kept coming up and saying my controller was disconnected when it weren't. And I'd disconnect it and plug it back in completely fine. And then my screen would go black, and all I could hear was audio, just randomly in the middle of a match. My whole screen would go black, right? Um, and I'd push my Windows key, and I could see the game again. But when obviously you can't move when it's like that, then you take it off, screen's black again. Right. The only thing that I could do, like I'd quickly type in the chat, "Yo, sorry mate," all I can see is a black screen, and then I would leave the match, but thinking I could rejoin back. But when you turn the game back on after you um closed it, it says you got a 30-minute suspension. And the first couple of times this happened, right, I was like, all right, this could actually be a bug, right? Even though this is exactly the same shit that happened on Marvel Rivals, right? I was like, this could possibly be a bug. There is a chance, right? And then I got to 4, 5 times, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, man! Like, what is going on here? Like, do you know what I mean? Blatantly, someone is able to fuck with your game like that somehow. I don't know. The things people do with computers, mate. Okay, just for the purpose of the video, you can see that moving there, right? Let me lift this up. Right, see this? Swinging it around, right? It's not saying it's disconnecting at all, nothing, right? Swinging it, like bump, bang it on the side, nothing, right? Let me grab my shaking my whole desk, right? Shaking it vigorously, right? My screen's not going black. Explain to me why it keeps coming up mid-game. My whole screen goes black and it keeps saying that my controller's disconnecting. What's happening? Same thing happened when I played Marvel Rivals. Funny that, isn't it? Like when I played Xbox, I never experienced anything like that. Obviously, the only thing that would happen to me when I played Xbox was people would mess with your router and stuff, you know. But since I've been on PC, man, the amount of weird things that happen, really strange things that happen, are just funny, and that shows how petty people really are. Petty little strange weird people. But the last thing that I'm going to say is I used to watch Destiny players even when I didn't play, right? I used to watch the best players do the carries and all that, and even they would complain about these devices, right? Because obviously they were playing the game legitimately, you know. Uh, but even they would complain about these devices. So before you pipe up and go to write delusion or whatever, just know that you'll be calling the better players on the game the same thing because they say the same thing as I did. And also, I've noticed that the creators on this game cover every single detail of the things that happen on this game. There is no stone left unturned, right? Now listen to this, right? Since last weekend, I've been hammering videos, looking at things that maybe I could possibly change with my builds, you know, stuff like that. Trying other people's builds, like this one, for example, that Frostbolt guys one. Um, and looking through all these videos, I've watched so many, right? And I'm not even going to say any people's names, right? I'm not going to say any people's names because that's not going to change anything if I do, right? But listen to this. Two separate occasions, one on Twitch, one on YouTube, right? Two separate occasions. I've had two like popular people that make content for this game say that using these devices, right, these third party cheating devices, right, is not cheating. Why hasn't no one covered that? That's strange, isn't it? Telling people it's okay to cheat because that is cheating. That is cheating. If you are plugging that device in and using it, that is cheating. Um, and to say it's not is just laughable. Like, you know, it's not cheap. That's not cheap, really, to, you know, just for something for gaming, to use these devices. If you buy both of these things, right, and buy the little packs that you have to get, um, you're looking at what, 300 odd pound? £300, something like that. You would not pay that for something you weren't getting an advantage from. Don't talk shit saying that's not cheating. You off your rocker. Like, come on, man. What are we talking about? And if I was Bungie, right, you're wondering why your population is getting smaller. All the creators, that's all they talk about when they talk about trials, is that you know, the player count is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Um, you know, there's your reason why, right there. Right, it's because the creators on your game are telling people that it's okay to cheat. Now, me, right, if I weren't me and I weren't as hard-headed as I am, if I was just, you know, just a normal, legitimate player, and I've tuned in to, you know, someone that's making content from, you know, for this game, and they're sitting there and telling people it's all right to cheat. I'm just uninstalling that game there and then. I'll tell you that for free. Like, I wouldn't even be playing it. Like I am now, obviously, because I already knew this was a thing. Like, but I still like the game, so I want to play. You know, but there's people out there that will hear something like that. Believe it or not, there's a lot of still genuine players. Um, there's people out there that will hear something like that and just instantly uninstall your game. So if I was Bungie, it wouldn't matter how many views them people got, nothing. If I was Bungie, I would search through and find those people and I would remove their accounts from this game and inform them that they can never make another one. Because what they are doing, they are single-handedly destroying the population on your game by telling people it's okay to cheat on it. And I'll leave you with that. All right. I'll catch you in a bit. Next one will be gameplay.